Hey y'all, so I noticed many people have been having issues with their sewing machine and getting a bird's nest. So this video will just give you some tips and give you steps on what you can do to avoid this happening to you. Right, so my first tip deals with thread placement, okay? I know a lot of people know how to thread their machines, but sometimes people are placing their thread on incorrectly. So with thread, you always want to make sure the string is behind, so it is in the back and not the front. So right now you see how the thread is behind. And then also I'm just going to show you the wrong way to do it. So the wrong way to do it would be to have the string in front. So you see how the string is in front? You don't want it to be in the front. If it is in the front, the way to get it behind is to simply take the thread off and flip it upside down. And that is pretty much how you get the thread behind, which is the correct way. You want the thread to always be in the back. All right, so then you want to proceed with threading your sewing machine. If you don't know how to thread your sewing machine, this is a part of my online wig course. So if you are a part of my online wig course, you know exactly how to thread your sewing machine properly. And right now I'm taking out the bobbin and I'm going to replace the bottom bobbin with a bobbin of color. When you are troubleshooting and trying to figure out what's going on with your machine, it is best to have your top thread and your bottom thread two separate colors. That way you can really see where the issue is coming from. So now I'm about to place the bobbin into the lower half of the machine. And just as I showed you with the top thread, you always want the string to be behind in the back. So it's the same for the top. The same thing we do for the top thread is the same thing we do for the bottom thread. So you want the thread to always be behind. And then once you have the thread behind, you're going to insert the bobbin and you're going to go ahead and thread that. Now, because we're going to try to figure out what tension level is going to be best for your sewing machine, you are going to need to change it to 0. And we are pretty much going to practice stitches on each and every tension setting. That way we can kind of figure out what's going on and what's not going on. All right, so I'm going to practice stitches with the cardboard paper that is found inside of wig caps. That is pretty much the paper that I'm going to be working on. And then now I'm just going to give you another tip. Another thing that people are forgetting to do is to lower their pressure foot. So every sewing machine has this latch right there, and you have to make sure that pressure foot is lowered. If it is not lowered, your thread is going to always mess up, okay? So make sure before you begin stitching that your pressure foot is lowered. Another tip, before you start sewing, you always want to make sure your sewing needle is down. So to get the sewing needle down, you just want to turn the knob on the side of your machine. It's very important that you manually put the needle down, because if you don't, and if you just start hitting, like putting your foot on the pedal, it can cause your needle to break. And it can cause a lot of issues with your threads. So you always want to make sure you manually lower the needle. So now it's time to start our stitches. So we have it on a tension of 0, and now we're going to start the stitches. And once you're done with that, you're going to look at what the stitches look like on both sides of the paper. All right, so as you can see, the first side is threaded perfectly, which is our top thread, but then our back thread isn't threaded so perfectly. And now I'm just about to explain what exactly it is that you're looking at. So when it comes to your stitches, both sides should have a perfect triangle, and you should only see one color on each side. On this side, we see both black and pink. So what we're going to do is we're going to keep playing around with tension until we get perfect triangles on both sides, and until both sides are one color. All right, so now I changed the setting from 0 to 1, and then now I'm going to go ahead and make another set of stitches. And then we're going to take a look at what those stitches look like. So on the front side, it's still very good. Don't mind the pieces that are on the ends because those are usually just loose threads. And as you can see, the back side got even worse. So we're going to change the tension to a 2 and we are going to go at it again. So it's pretty much just a trial and error type of process until we get what it is that we're looking for. Now, everybody's sewing machine is going to be different. Everybody is not going to be able to have their tension on the same settings because some of us use our sewing machines more than others. Some may make more wigs than the next person. So because you're using your machine more, your tension is like the tightness of your machine is weakening because you're using your machine more. So this is why one person may have their tension on a 3, but you can have your tension on a 3 and you get different results. So it's pretty much a trial and error process with your sewing machine that you're going to have to figure out what tension works best for your machine. All right, so just to skip through the process, I had to put my tension on a 9 to get the perfect stitch where it was a perfect triangle on both sides and I can only see one color on both sides. So to me, this is probably an indication that my sewing machine needs to get serviced. It needs to be cleaned. A few screws need to be tightened because I did have to go all the way to the 9th tension level to get the perfect stitch. So it's probably time for me to get my machine maintenance in some sort of way. But hopefully this video is helpful for you guys. As you can see, even throughout this process, I didn't get any type of bird nest, and that was because my thread was threaded properly. So hopefully these tips can be helpful for you.